Do you know someone like this? A woman who says things she doesn't really mean when she's around a man she likes or someone she wants to impress. A funny woman. While it might be a way to show affection, it's a different story if she changes her attitude based on who she's with. Phony girls always end up causing harm behind the scenes. I'm going to share a story about when I was on the receiving end of this behavior. My name is Flora. 7 years ago, I was in a 3-year relationship with a guy named Daniel, and we were planning to get married in the fall. Around that time, we found out that his older brother was also planning to get married. It was great to have 2 happy events happening at the same time, but considering the financial burden on the invited guests, we thought it might be better to avoid having them overlap. So we had a discussion and decided that the older brother would have his wedding first. That's when Nina, his wife, became my sister-in-law. I'm 2 years younger than her, and she was very kind, treating me like a sister. I thought we'd get along well as sisters-in-law. But her attitude changed completely 6 months after her wedding. It was the day we came back from our honeymoon. Grandma, Daniel, and Flora are back from their trip, my mother-in-law said loudly. Daniel's 80-year-old grandmother, who lives with my in-laws, came out of the back room. Daniel, Flora, welcome back. I brought you the toffee you like. When I handed my grandmother-in-law her gift, she smiled happily. Daniel, you've really got yourself a great wife. She even thought of me during the wedding ceremony. It was an intimate ceremony with just family, and even the meal was Japanese cuisine, which is rare for young people these days. It was then that my sister-in-law, Nina, walked in. Oh, you all look like you're having a good time together. Nina, you came just in time. Daniel and Flora brought us some toffee from their honeymoon. Join us, my mother-in-law invited her. But Nina replied, not this time. I just came to drop off the invitations for your birthday party, mother-in-law. Well, I have some things to do, so I'm going to take off. Then she walked out the front door. I followed her. Here's a souvenir. It's not much, I said, handing her a paper bag with sweets. She peeked inside and laughed. It looks like something you could buy at any train station, huh? I'm sorry, I stammered. And Flora, from now on, could you stop calling me by my first name? You're married now, so you should understand, right? Yes, I replied, feeling taken aback. The Nina who used to call me by my first name or a nickname now addressed me more formally, and her words and tone seemed harsh. What could have happened? I wondered if I had done something to upset her, but I couldn't think of anything. Maybe she was just in a bad mood. Still, I was left with an uneasy feeling. At the restaurant my sister-in-law had booked for my mother-in-law's birthday celebration, my in-laws and Nina were waiting. I was about to ask why my grandmother-in-law wasn't there, but my sister-in-law spoke up. Now that everyone's here, father-in-law, could you please say a few words for the toast? We finished the main course, and just as we were about to have dessert, my sister-in-law said, Mother-in-law, this is a birthday present from Ty and me. When my mother-in-law opened the box my sister-in-law handed her, it revealed a high-end bag. Oh my, can I really accept such an expensive gift? We chose it because we thought it would be perfect for a fashionable mother-in-law like you. Nina had also given my father-in-law a watch for his birthday 3 months earlier. Seeing my mother-in-law's happiness, my sister-in-law looked at me with satisfaction. Flora, you have something too, right? Yes, I'm not sure how to follow that, but as my mother-in-law unwrapped the package I handed her, she exclaimed, Oh, how lovely. Did you make this, Flora? Yes, I enjoy sewing. I had given her a handmade apron. I remembered my mother-in-law saying before that she wished there were more fashionable aprons out there, so I made one to suit her taste. Thank you, this is exactly what I wanted, and it's even more special that you made it for me. My mother-in-law was delighted. My sister-in-law, who had been nodding along to the conversation, smiled and said, Flora, you're really skillful with your hands. I'm jealous. Can you teach me sometime? I had been worried about how my gift would be received, so I was relieved by their kind words. I excused myself and went to the restroom. While washing my hands, I felt someone's gaze on me. I looked up to see my sister-in-law glaring at me through the mirror. I had a shocked expression on my face. What's so surprising? She snapped. I'm sorry, I mumbled, still taken aback. I didn't notice at first. Hey Flora, what's with that birthday present? Did you really think she'd be happy with something like that? A handmade apron. It's so outdated, like something from a grade school economics class. She laughed. mocking me while crossing her arms. I feel like I'll catch your bad taste if I'm around you, she said, pinching her nose and making a gesture to fan away the smell before leaving the restroom. From that point on, my sister-in-law acted completely different when we were alone compared to when we were with family. My husband would just tell me not to worry about it and wouldn't take the issue seriously. Still, I continued to visit my in-laws' house to see my grandmother-in-law, who looked forward to my visits. Lately, I hadn't had any run-ins with my sister-in-law. Then one day, I received a message from her after a long time. I have something to tell you. When I went to my in-laws' house that day, my sister-in-law, who had come alone, was happily chatting with them. Nina is pregnant. It's a boy, my mother-in-law said joyfully. My in-laws already knew about my sister-in-law's pregnancy, but they had called us over so she could tell us in person. Feeling mixed emotions while my in-laws beamed with happiness, I pretended to make tea and went to the kitchen. Even so, I couldn't help but listen to the conversation in the living room. Actually, there's something I'd like to ask, my sister-in-law said. What is it? Don't be shy, just say it. Well, I talked to Ty about it, and we were wondering if we could live here with you after the baby is born. So, here's a proposal. If the family grows, it might become a little cramped, so we would appreciate it if we could renovate the house. Of course, we'll cover the expenses. She suggested this humbly, but I felt she might have had another motive. Unaware of this, my father-in-law said, I appreciate the sentiment, but wouldn't we all end up being overly conscious of each other? My father-in-law said, you don't have to worry about us, but why don't you just build your own house? If it's about money, we'd be happy to help. Right, honey? Yeah, that's right, my mother-in-law agreed. Upon hearing my in-law's words, my sister-in-law said, really? Are you sure? That's too bad. I was looking forward to living together. This was probably all part of her plan. My sister-in-law came over to me in the kitchen with a smug look. Did you hear that? My father-in-law is going to give me the money for my own house. She casually revealed that she never had any intention of living with her in-laws from the start. My future is secure now. I have a husband who works at a top-tier company, a new house, and a son on the way. Plus, I've got my in-laws on my side. You really picked the wrong person to mess with. Excuse me. Being friends with that old woman won't get you anywhere, she added. Unable to hold back any longer, I raised my voice. Nina, that's completely inappropriate. Don't be so loud. Everyone will hear you, she whispered in my ear. God must be watching over me. After all, he made sure I, as the eldest son's wife, would have a child before you. I didn't immediately understand what my sister-in-law meant, but then I realized something. How did she know about it? Only my husband and grandmother-in-law should have known. Suddenly, my grandmother-in-law walked up. What are you two talking about? Oh, it's nothing, my sister-in-law replied with a fake smile before quickly returning to the living room. Flora, would you like to have some tea in my room? Once inside, my grandmother-in-law checked again to make sure no one was outside the room and said, Flora, is Nina being mean to you? I replied, hesitating. My grandmother-in-law told me she had begun to notice my sister-in-law's true nature. When I told my grandmother-in-law that Nina knew about my miscarriage, she said she must have eavesdropped on our conversation in this room. Had planned to keep my pregnancy a secret for the first several weeks, only telling my husband and grandmother-in-law because I didn't know what my sister-in-law would do if she found out. Unfortunately, I ended up having a miscarriage. My sister-in-law had deliberately called us to her in-laws' house to announce her pregnancy. I couldn't help but think she was mocking me. I couldn't forgive her. I decided to tell my elderly grandmother-in-law everything about Nina's behavior, which I hadn't mentioned before to avoid worrying her. My grandmother-in-law held my hand and said, Don't worry, Flora. Leave it to this old lady. Several months later, my sister-in-law gave birth to a baby boy at a hospital near her parents' home. We gave her husband some money as a gift, but I separately sent a present to Nina's family home. Even though she should have received it by now, she never said anything. I decided to call my sister-in-law in front of my grandmother-in-law and parents-in-law. What, you're asking for a thank you? Sending me such a cheap handmade baby outfit? How stingy can you be? My sister-in-law started the conversation by ranting loudly. I put her on speaker. I threw that thing in the trash already. Just send me a stroller instead. I waited for my sister-in-law to finish before revealing the truth. Nina, Did you check what was inside that gift? What? Yes, I made the baby outfit, but your father-in-law asked me to. Your parents-in-law embroidered your child's name on the chest of the outfit. I also mentioned that in the letter I included. Didn't you read it? What? Are you kidding? My sister-in-law's confident tone gradually faded. Flora, hold on a minute. I could hear voices in the background. Mom, where did you put that bag I threw in the trash? What bag? What was in it? Just look next time. My sister-in-law and her mother's conversation was clearly audible even though she probably thought she was covering the phone. I'm sorry, Flora. There was a little misunderstanding. Suddenly, my sister-in-law's tone changed to a more humble one. It seems my mom accidentally threw it away, mistaking it for trash. If our in-laws find out about this, they'll be upset. My sister-in-law made endless excuses and ultimately asked me to make the same baby outfit again. Flora, I'm sorry for being so harsh before. I didn't mean anything by it, so please just help me out this time. Nina, who had said many hurtful things to me, was now trying to butter me up. All right, I'll do it just this once, considering your parents-in-law's feelings. I hung up the phone after saying that. Now you see, that's her true nature, my grandmother-in-law, who had been listening nearby, said to my parents-in-law. Actually, before giving birth, my sister-in-law had bailed on my grandmother-in-law's birthday party, claiming she was sick. My grandmother-in-law had told my parents-in-law and Ty about Nina's true colors. I can't believe Nina would do such a thing, my parents-in-law said, their skepticism dissolving as they listened to the phone conversation. They were dumbfounded, moving beyond anger, knowing that the outfit made with love by the family had been thrown in the trash. The tables had turned. Unaware of the situation, my sister-in-law Nina came to our parents-in-law's house with her husband and their newborn child. We couldn't confront her while our in-laws were meeting their first grandchild for the first time, so Daniel and I greeted them with casual smiles. How adorable. I wonder if he has my mouth. His eyebrows are like mine, Nina remarked. Watching my in-laws, who couldn't help but adore their grandchild, I thought the phrase, they wouldn't feel pain even if their eyes were poked, truly applied here. Thank you, everyone, for the lovely baby clothes. See, they fit perfectly, Nina said, wearing a proud expression as she dressed the baby in the clothes I had remade. Yes, they do, I replied. Seeing the happy faces of the in-laws, Nina smiled at me. At that moment, my mother-in-law said with a puzzled expression, something seems off. What? These baby clothes? The embroidery wasn't this beautiful before, was it? Am I imagining things? She tilted her head. Oh no, it's always been this beautiful, Nina replied nervously. I guess so, my mother-in-law said, seemingly convinced. Nina laughed nervously, relieved that nothing more came of it. Let me hold my great-grandchild, my grandmother-in-law said, reaching out. Don't touch the baby with your dirty hands, Nina snapped reflexively, brushing away her great-grandmother's hand. It was a reflex, revealing her true nature. Flustered, Nina quickly said, I'm sorry, Grandma. I didn't mean it like that, Nina desperately tried to explain, but icy cold gazes were directed at her. Well, it doesn't matter, Great-Grandma said with a laugh. You may try to keep up appearances, but sometimes your true colors show unexpectedly, right, Nina? Huh? Oh no, did I let something slip? Nina was speechless at Great-Grandma's response. Backed into a corner, she said, Great-Grandma, can we have another birthday party for you? I couldn't attend the last one because I wasn't feeling well. Oh, there it is, her signature about face. Would you prefer Japanese cuisine? I could make a reservation at a fancy restaurant, Nina asked, rubbing her hands together. No, I don't like eating out. I'd rather try some of your homemade cooking instead of a fancy feast. Is cooking not your strong suit, Nina? No, it's not like that. Of course I'll cook for you, she said confidently. But later she called me. Can you do me a favor? Nina asked me to help her cook, assuming I'd bail her out like I did with the baby clothes. But things wouldn't go her way this time. I'm sorry, Nina, but no. Great-Grandma has had my cooking and would know right away. Why didn't you just be honest if you can't cook? Maybe she didn't expect me to say that. Fine, she said and hung up the phone. At Great-Grandma's birthday party, there were fancy boxes of food lined up on the table. Did you make all this, Nina? Great-Grandma asked with an innocent expression. Yes, I did. I'm not sure if you'll like it though, Nina replied, Knowing her, she probably ordered high-end dishes and just changed out the plates because she refused to admit that she couldn't cook. Relieved that she managed to avoid complete embarrassment, she showed a gift to her grandmother-in-law. "Grandma, this is just a small token, but I hope you like it and wear it." "Oh, this looks like expensive clothing, but it's too fancy for me to wear. I feel bad, but can you return it to the store you bought it from?" You don't like it. I can get something else." Nina hesitated. Grandmother-in-law said, "Nina, would you like to live with us here? That would be the best present." It would mean I could enjoy your delicious cooking every day." "Live together, right, father-in-law?" Great-grandma asked, looking at him. Nina was visibly shaken by the unexpected request. "It's just a thought. Besides, Nina, weren't you planning to live with us? Is there a problem?" After about 10 seconds of silence, Nina finally opened her mouth. "I'm sorry. The truth is, I can't cook at all, but I didn't want to tell you, so I ordered food," Nina confessed. "Well, if that's the case, you should have just told us the truth," Great-grandma replied. "Yes, I'm sorry." Nina apologized for the cooking issue and clearly wanted to slide past the topic of living together, but Great-grandma wasn't finished yet. "Don't worry, I was just joking about us living together." "What? It was just a joke." Nina's face looked relieved. But grandmother-in-law's next words were unexpected. "Don't be so relieved just yet." "Huh? I'd rather you not set foot in the house if you can be honest." "What?" Nina's usually quiet husband, Ty, spoke up. "Nina, apologize to Flora. Throwing away the clothes she made for the baby is a terrible thing to do." It was the first time I'd seen Ty angry. "I'll apologize. I didn't do anything wrong." Nina still refused to acknowledge her actions. I had it. "Nina, it's all out in the open. Should I show you?" I showed her my smartphone. "Here, I have all our conversations recorded. Wanna hear?" As I tried to press the button on my phone, Nina screamed, "Stop it," and snatched it from my hand. Startled by her loud voice, the baby sleeping in the next room started to cry loudly. "What do you want from me?" Nina's voice trembled. Then, unexpectedly, she started to cry too. Everyone was taken aback. "Nina, cut it out. Aren't you embarrassed, acting like a child? Just get out," Ty said. The room got quiet. Nina had nothing to say. She slightly nodded at me and left the house. The consequences of being two-faced caught up to Nina. Later, Ty told her that he wanted a divorce. Nina had no job or savings. She demanded alimony in exchange for giving him custody of their child. However, Nina's parents were reasonable and apologized for their daughter's actions, offering to pay the alimony themselves. Nina, who moved back in with her parents, sent Ty messages complaining about living with her stubborn sister-in-law and how unbearable it was. Nina didn't care about her child at all. Ty was fed up and said, "You brought this on yourself," and he blocked her. After the divorce, Ty remarried and lived with his son in his parents' home. "Please call me Anna. You don't have to call me sister-in-law." Anna, who was a year older, was very kind and cheerful, and the baby quickly warmed up to her. Thanks to the in-laws, the family of 3 now lives in an apartment near their house. My husband and I, blessed with 2 daughters, moved into the in-laws' house when Ty and his family moved out. The in-laws love watching their grandchildren grow up. Grandmother named our 2 daughters. My name, Flora, means flower, so she chose the names Lily and Jasmine. The girls called my grandmother-in-law Gigi. She will celebrate her 88th birthday this year. Today, she sits on the porch watching her great-grandchildren play in the sandbox. "Gigi, here's some toffee," the girls say, offering her balls of mud. She laughs and says, "Thank you, it's delicious." As I watch this adorable exchange from a distance, I whisper, "Gigi, please live a long life and watch over our children as they grow up."